The Steelers and Justin Fields were unable to come to an agreement in free agency after both sides had interest. The Steelers said they would like to bring back Justin Fields, and Justin Fields said he was open to coming back, to the Steelers. But, the agreement didn't get done, and it was the Jets. The Jets was able to come to an agreement with Justin Fields in free agency, and the Jets was also Aaron Rodgers' former team. Aaron Rodgers wanted to go back to the Jets. He said he just renovated his home and things like that. So he was willing to go back, but the Jets, wanted to go in a different direction. So end up getting a deal done with Fields, and now Aaron Rodgers signed with the Steelers. So now that both teams, both quarterbacks swap teams, the question is, which quarterback is going to have a better season this year? Will it be Justin Fields with the Jets or Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers? And if you look at the Jets situation with Justin Fields, the Jets brought in Aaron Rodgers because they had some pieces. They had some pieces, and they felt like Aaron Rodgers, being the veteran that he is, will put him over the hump, and that just didn't happen. But the Jets still got those pieces for Justin Fields. They still got Garrett Wilson and some other wide receiver pieces. Brees Hall, running back. You got your young cornerback, Sauce Gardner, and things like that, an up-and-coming defense. So those pieces are still in play for Justin Fields. The offensive line, the offensive line doesn't have to be the best, because one thing about Fields, we know Fields has mobility. He's a very mobile quarterback. So, if the offensive line breaks down and things like that, Justin Fields can get out of there by sometimes with his legs, which is not the case for Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers. I think that'll be a big thing, for Aaron Rodgers, is the offensive line. Broderick Jones going back to the left side, his natural position. He's been playing out of position. So, when guys play out of position, you can't expect the results from left tackle Broderick to right, from the right tackle Broderick. So now you put him on his natural position. Troy Fautano, still a question mark, banged up and things like that. He got to get back. He got to recover and get back in the game. Zach Frazier, solid, So you made the trade for George Pickens, but you bring in DK Metcalf, and we know what DK Metcalf is all about. The Steelers are still looking for another wide receiver. You see it. It's out there. They missed out on Godwin and, Chris Olave. They looked there. They even, kicked the tires. Well, not kicked the tires, but they had a conversation with Gabe Davis. There's still guys out there and things. So the Steelers are still looking to add players to that roster. Jaylen Warren, running back, what he brings into the table. Solid running back. Drafted a nice running back, Johnson. So the offensive line for the Steelers. And then you got Pat Freiermuth. Playmaking tight end. Darnell Washington, man. Give him a shot. He can block, but Darnell, man, he might have a chance to, Aaron Rodgers said, at minicamp that Darnell Washington reminded him of Mercedes Lewis. Mercedes Lewis, a tight end, played with Aaron Rodgers a long time, and he said, size and things like that. So it looks like Aaron Rodgers and Darnell are getting acquainted, so you might see that connection, which needs to happen, because I believe Darnell Wash can, I believe he can add something to that passing game, man. You see a little flashes and things. Russell, he scored a touchdown, but I think there's more to Darnell Wash in there, man, and maybe a guy like Rodgers, who familiar with tight ends of that size and know how to bring that out of them. So the Steelers are still working the roster, still tweaking it. Omar Khan, they still trying to do some things. And so it's gonna be something to see. With the Steelers, both guys, like I said, switched teams after having interest and going back to their old team, and both teams play each other. Both quarterbacks play each other, man, week 1, which is going to be a must-see game because you got, it's going to be a home game for Fields. So you got your old team coming in, so you're going to want to, this is my house, my new house. I'm here. Your old team coming to your new home. And then Rodgers, you're going to your old stomping grounds, man. You're going to your old place of business. And I know he's going to want to show up and say, hey, you guys didn't want me, especially in the case that it was public that Aaron Rodgers wanted to go back. He wanted to go back to the Jets. He flew, he was mad. They flew him out to a meeting, but it was just, you had to respect it because the guy said he wanted to tell him face to face. Rodgers said, hey, why didn't you just send me a text or tell me something, over the phone? You made me fly. But some people just keep it, face up, eye to eye. So he wanted to go back to the Jets, and the Jets didn't want him. So, that's going to be something for him to go back in front of those fans in that stadium and try to light them up. Same thing with Fields. Steelers not getting the deal done. Say, hey, the Steelers didn't want to pay Fields the money that the Jets were willing to pay. Some look at it and say maybe the Steelers didn't look at Justin Fields as a franchise quarterback, or maybe they would have paid him, or they didn't have belief in him and things like that. But Justin Fields did some good things with the Steelers, 4-2 record. You can argue the case and say that the Steelers should have kept Fields in. If you producing a winning record and things like that. So, and so Fields is going to have, he's going to have, he got fuel to his fire. He's going to want to say, hey, you guys didn't want to pay me, or you went Rodgers route. You went for the older guy. Okay, I'll show you. So, it's going to be something to see, man. And everybody's going to, that's going to be the thing, man. Who's going to have the better season? Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers or Justin Fields with the Jets? Did the Steelers mess up? Because you can already hear it now. Aaron Rodgers struggle, Fields thriving. Especially if the Jets beat the Steelers pretty decent due to Fields shining and Rodgers struggling. That's going to be headlines. Oh man, the Steelers should have paid Fields. Look at this. Why would you get Rodgers? But it can be the other way around. Fields can struggle and Rodgers can turn back a little bit. He's not going to go back to the MVP, Rodgers. It's not happening. But he can turn back enough just to make you say, hey, man, the Steelers made a good move. That was a great move for the Steelers to do that. Look at the seasons they're having. 1-year deal with Rodgers. Who knows what type of deal that the Steelers and Fields were working on. Maybe a 2-3, but a guy that age, you want to keep him around, especially seeing what you've seen out of him. Keep him around a little bit to develop him and Arthur Smith, but it's the business. It's nothing personal, just business, as they would say. So Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers, Justin Fields with the Jets. Week 1, facing off. Can't get no better than that. So I'm going to leave it to you guys in the comments. Who's going to have the better season? Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers or Justin Fields with the Jets? Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get all the new videos. And until next time.